Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to the November 8th, Saturday, 2014 edition of Wrestle Talk Show. I'm your host, Joshua Zimmerman, and as we talked about in the last video we posted, youtube.com/CWE Company, which was the archive site we're now using as the primary due to login issues with Google and YouTube those accounts being linked together. And when we looked at it, most of the content is on youtube.com/CWE Company. 3 to 5 years worth of we did this in 2011, so launched this in 2011, so 3 years worth of content is on that site compared to what the 2 videos that are on here and the 4 to 6 videos that were launched on the site, that the newer site that we're having difficulty getting into. Once we get back into it, obviously we'll link the videos, bring this back as the archive channel, and go from there. But we wanted the content to get out. As always, you can email your show questions, comments, concerns to Joshua R. Zimmerman @gmail.com. Basically my name. Easiest email in the world to remember, Joshua R. Zimmerman @gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook.com/CWE Company /Wrestle Talk Show. Follow us on Twitter, CWE Company @CWE Company. We're on LinkedIn under Joshua Zimmerman or CWE Company. We encourage our business associates and affiliations to use that site to communicate with us, and our fans to continue supporting us as they have. Special shout out to a personal friend of mine, Nate Lerner, who's a fan of the show and who is interested in helping me out technically. I want to publicly thank him for that. And let's get into today's wrestling news. What a wrestling week it was. TNA ignores request from Triple A Wrestling. TNA stars Robbie E. and Zema Ion got their own Triple A bookings in Mexico while TNA doesn't have any work booked. Triple A tried to get TNA to send them a 1-minute video package to help both guys promote them on Triple A, but TNA never sent anything. This is yesterday's postings. TNA's one night only knockout pay-per-view was last night. We hope you caught that. If you didn't, we completely understand why. But TNA is looking slightly better than WWE these days in content. What's the use of I'll say it again, and forgive me for straying off topic, but it's just a bad news week, year. Last 4 years have been horrible for WWE, and let me stray away from the news and break this down. When I started in 2011, and my friend, to quote him again, Nate Lerner, got this right on the money when he said he followed all of our content. I asked him if he followed the early rants that were 1 to 2 hours long. And it was one that I was very passionate about. And my main focus of that rant was, what was the point in buying ECW and WCW? So WWE could be the monopoly, the one-man show, correct? Okay, you buy ECW for all of Paul Heyman's court costs, an estimated $15,000 and some change. Then the guy you want to put into the ground, business-wise and professionally, you then hire onto the payroll.
Josh?
Hold on. And what doesn't make sense is you have the brand split. Now, the brand split was created after both of the competitive companies were purchased. Now, the brand split was to give the image that WWE had competition. Raw would compete with SmackDown. SmackDown would compete with Raw. And the problem with that is, like I said in the last rant, you wouldn't have to compete with anything if WWE quietly bought WCW and ECW, but then had them run by the same people so it looked like competition. They could still own them. I'm busy. please, I'm busy. You could still own them, WWE, the giant that they are, or won't be in the next 2 to 5 years, if not sooner, if Vince McMahon has anything to say about it, or Triple H for that matter. The worst thing Vince McMahon could have done was taken his mind out of this completely and have Triple H as his apprentice, and Stephanie for that matter, because neither one of them care what you, the wrestling fans, think. Now, with that being said, we go into the WWE Network. 4 years ago, it was pitched. It was it cost a lot of money. For 4 years, Vince McMahon deceived the board of directors. The launch kept getting pushed back, as we all remember. It was supposed to be a year ago, 2 years ago, and it recently launched, WrestleMania last year. And as we discussed, the subscriber rates, and as they're learning now, the subscriber rates, you could only manipulate so much. And we estimated that for the first 6 months to a year, they could play with those numbers where it would go up and it would go down. But after a certain point, it's like spending money on your ATM card and making deposits and then making withdrawals, making deposits and making withdrawals. You can play with those numbers, but then after a certain point, you're either going to have money and be flush or be negative and in the red. And what WWE has learned, it's lost over 133,000 subscribers, if not more, since our last show on the new channel. That was the estimated loss. Now, like we said, they can manipulate those numbers because it will fluctuate as subscriptions run out. As we all know, it's $9.99 a month with a 6-month commitment. So, like we said, for 6 months, they could play with those numbers. As they report them month to month, depending on when you subscribed, if you signed up in the beginning, your 6-month subscription probably ended 2 to 3 months ago. And that's where the fallout started, the 133,000 loss, audience loss. Not to mention that over the last 3 years that we've been reporting this, WWE has seen losses in its quarterly reportings. It was able to hide said losses because the pay-per-view business was different than the pay-per-view revenue was separate from the live attendance revenue. Now you take in the pay-per-view revenue and put it right into the WWE Network. So they're no longer two separate entities and two separate income or losses to report. It's one platform that they either report wins or losses on. And recently, the last 3 years, thanks to Vince McMahon, just say the last 7 years, from conception of the network to the 4 years it took him, the money that he spent, the millions of dollars he spent trying to get Linda McMahon into the Senate, which we all knew wasn't going to happen because she almost was ashamed of her WWE background. And running the company the way she did it, and as a fellow business owner, not to her scale, of course, but it always baffled me why Linda was afraid of her roots. Because if you watch inside videos of the conception of World Wrestling Entertainment purchased by Vince McMahon Jr. from Senior, it was to take it to new heights. He would be the promoter, Linda was the CEO, and Linda was a damn good CEO. And I don't know why he would be ashamed of that. Now, for the 4 years it took the WWE Network to launch, it took 4 years, every quarterly conference call almost after the announcement of this network, of nothing but influxes of cash into the network, manipulations of the balance sheets, and corporate saying next year, or every quarterly conference call, next time we'll have more to report, until finally it was launched. Now, bringing it back full circle, it's launched, and you've gotten people on their first 6-month commitment. They either had the choice to renew or not renew. You found that some stuck around. Like I said, the 6-month commitment gets you the network for $9.99 a month. If you don't commit month to month, it's $12.99, which is arguably, not even arguably, dramatically better than what cable subscribers are forced to pay. And like I said before, you keep the network just for the $10 pay-per-views, because who wants to buy an $80 pay-per-view anymore? Now, to bring it back full circle, you've taken the pay-per-view business and taken it from its own entity on the balance sheet to altogether under the network, along with your archived content, which is fine. But now you have no way to manipulate the numbers. After 6 months is when the 133,000 fallout came. 133,000 people said, I'd rather just buy the pay-per-views I want to buy, or I'm going to stop watching this product altogether. And that brings us to the other issue. WWE, for the last 4 to 6 years, has seen dramatic losses in attendance. Blacked out areas of arenas. If you attend them live, you see the seats covered in black tarps for benefit of camera views. It just looks like dead space. And the cheapest ticket, like I argued in the rant, when I go to report and to bring the inside concept for the show and to let you guys have fun. This lets us do it a little bit better, because now we can, the next time we go to a live event, which will be at least twice coming in 2015, you notice that they're a little deceptive. You'll see on the commercials in between the broadcasts, when they come to Trenton, for example, or when they come to Philadelphia, tickets starting at $15. Well, right there, that's a lie. Because the tickets, yes, there are $15 and $20 tickets. But then what they don't tell you, and it's assumed, thankfully to most of our diehard fans and fellow promoters, that there's a processing fee that's attached automatically after you buy the ticket, which is another $20. So your $15 ticket at the end of everything is a minimum of $40, which is not bad, but it's not a $20 ticket. So you see the conflict there. The second conflict is like I said, Triple H, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, I respect you all as wrestlers, business people, whatever you're calling yourself these days. It's definitely not for the people. And I'm not jack swaggering it up, but it's just how you've turned your company, what you turned Vince McMahon's dream into, where you don't care about the fans. You have 3 hours of content on Raw, which I wouldn't even call content, because you spend the first 20 to 40 minutes of the 3-hour show cutting promos. Then you factor in the average 15 to 30, 45 minutes of commercials. And like we said before, all that third hour did was compensate commercial time. It did not add content to the program. The WWE app is a teaser for people that don't have it, because you miss entrances and you miss things while you're watching these commercials that they tease you. Oh, if you would have had the app. You don't want the app. You're not missing anything. They're not out for you anymore. What the problem has become, and what I discussed with fellow wrestling enthusiast Meat Lerner, is they've become too comfortable in assuming that you'll just buy it. And I think it spoke volumes when 133,000 people said $10 is even too rich for you. I'm not going to assume anymore that you'll provide me with a great product. I'll spend $50 when I want to spend $50 and watch the pay-per-views that look good. They used to be able to ride on the fact that, oh, it'll work itself out. We're World Wrestling Entertainment. We have no competition. We own the competition. And there, it all comes full circle. They bought the competition and then tried to merge the competition. A year late, 6 months to a year later, we all remember, 3/4 of said competition was gone. The wrestlers were just gone. Credible wrestlers with talent that just because they didn't fit McMahon's mold didn't make the cut. Now I say again, there would have been no harm in purchasing ECW, who was going under anyway, purchasing WCW, which McMahon, that was a personal vendetta between McMahon and Ted Turner, and McMahon wanted the company, which is fine. But then don't go compete with yourself. Raw versus SmackDown is not competitive. It's you saying, hey, we bought out the competition. Now, folks, we've got no choice but to compete with ourselves. And then they wonder why wrestling fans are now watching. Viewership on Spike TV for TNA has gone up. It's still not the greatest. It probably won't be. But ever since they got the fear of God put in them, per se, and almost lost the deal with Spike, or it came to the very end before Spike announced that it would renew the deal with terms, that's their only competitor. And it speaks volumes again when the competitor puts on a better wrestling product than the conglomerate World Wrestling Entertainment, which 2 to 5 years from now might be a giant, but if it keeps being run to the ground by McMahon Helmsley, we're all in trouble. Vince McMahon, please, your son-in-law is a creative wrestler. He deserves to be a creative writer, not the COO of your company. You did not mold this man to take over well. He does not. He assumes. He's been in this business so long that the 20 years, 20, 30 years he's been in this business, he's turned into a great wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers, for his wrestling ability. Kind of like I said, you shouldn't have made Chris Benoit disappear. Yes, everything he did was tragic. Should not be commended. But he still had a professional wrestling career that was separate from what he did. That content, you can only edit so much because it is on the network. I found one thing on the network that they'll acknowledge Chris Benoit on, but he had, 23, 25 years of solid wrestling in the business, and you own all these archives? You don't have to condone, no one condones what Chris Benoit did. But don't deny wrestling fans the experience of 4-star quality Chris Benoit matches. Now, I don't care what kind of flack I get. Again, the email is joshuazimmerman@gmail.com. His wrestling career and his personal life were completely different. They do not merge at any point, except in the back when it comes to Vince McMahon, and if you're Ray Rice in the NFL, personal conduct plays into it. I get it. It did not put a good light on Benoit, but his 25 years did not have to be virtually erased. And if you dig hard enough on YouTube, hard enough in the network, you can find things that you can still see. WWE needs to acknowledge the wrestling career of Chris Benoit, if not anything else. They don't have, this is in no way a sign of, hey, we condone what he did, but come on, it's 25 years that you're more or less saying wrestling fans forget about, which any true wrestling fan knows is out there. Get real, WWE. Get real, Triple H and Stephanie. Wake the hell up. Moving on. Dean Malenko talks Guerrero rivalry. WWE website recently published an article on the rivalry between Dean Malenko and the late Eddie Guerrero. WWE agent Malenko, oh, he's an agent now, said he and Guerrero were always trying to outdo themselves. Quote, "How do you top yourself? That's where the creative part comes in. Eddie had trust in me and I trusted him to have the right plan for a particular night. I knew exactly every step he would take and vice versa. And it was fun because it wasn't like a job. It was just going out there and enjoying the fruits of your labor with somebody who has the same passion and thought process as you." Survivor Series news. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that there were 11,000 tickets out for purchase and 4,000 tickets unsold for the WWE Survivor Series as of this week. WWE is selling family packs of 4 tickets for the price of 3, which is rare for a pay-per-view. Believe me, they'll make up the difference somewhere in the processing fees or taxes. WWE does not do anyone favors, especially the fans, anymore. It saddens me, but WWE does not care about you, the wrestling fan, anymore. That's why shows like this, the Wrestling Observer, Smart Wrestling Fan, PW Torch, all friends of ours, are out there. Because the wrestling business is already smoke and mirrors when it comes to promoters and the politics. It's bad enough that they pretend that it doesn't exist. We're out here to show you the wrestling side of it, the political side of it, and everything in between. You can choose to watch, you can choose not to watch. No one's forcing you. For those who stick around, we always thank you for your support and your continued dedication. Former WWE superstar pulls out of upcoming events due to health issues. Former WWE superstar Harry D.H. Smith, son of the late British Bulldog, wrote the following on Facebook about why he's pulling out of events this weekend. "I have the unfortunate news to my fans in the UK and Wales that I will not be at this weekend comic convention in Wales with FPW. I had to go to emergency at 4 a.m. with breathing complications from tonsillitis. Also had severe trouble speaking and swallowing. With more medical attention, I have learned it is a peritoneal abscess behind the tonsil, inflaming my tonsils, throat, and causing problems with breathing, swallowing, and talking. I have been in the hospital all day, real fun, and don't feel any better. Tomorrow I will be needing an incision to drain the pus and more antibiotic via IV. I hope to be back in action soon wrestling. Right now, I cannot do anything." Super Cena screws up on live TV and a tag team partner go their separate ways. Tag team partners go their separate ways. Curtis Axel met back up with his tag team partner Ryback in a segment on this week's WWE Superstars. Axel was upset about his loss to Adam Rose when Ryback walked in. Ryback joked that he thought Axel had been lost in Mexico. Ryback said he was going to focus on his singles career and had read some books on politics while he was recovering from surgery. Ryback told Axel that Rose possibly cheated to win because Rose can't beat Axel clean. Axel said maybe it is best if the two go their separate ways and we'll see each other down the line. Ryback added that all great tag teams eventually get back together, and so will they. There may have been sound issues at today's, this was November 6th, WWE event in Dublin, Ireland, at least during the main event, as John Cena could be heard calling his moves by fans as far back as the second to last row floor seats. Cena defeated Kane and Bray Wyatt in a handicap match with the help of Dolph Ziggler. So way to go, Cena, real professional. stopped watching pay-per-views because I'm tired of him winning, or Brock Lesnar winning, neither one of which. Old news, come on. NXT has so much talent you could be pushing, and you don't. You're just going through the motions because, again, Stephanie and Hunter don't know what else to do. This week's TNA fails to make top 100 viewership and rating. Last night, which was the 11/6 episode of TNA Impact Wrestling, drew a 0.75 cable rating, in line with the week before that's 0.76 rating. This week's show averaged 933,000 viewers. This was up from 911,000 viewers. Impact failed to make the top 100 shows in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is their entire business. Sheamus talks doing more acting, and a WWE stock note for November 6th. WWE stock was up 0.84% today, closing at $13.23 a share. I remember when it was in the 50s, $52.50 per share. So way to go. Again, Triple H and Stephanie. Today's high, which again, November 11th, was $13.46, and the low was $13.12. The UK's Mirror notes that Sheamus has been inspired to get into acting after seeing Batista in Guardians of the Galaxy. Sheamus has done some acting in the past and says he would like to play Venom in a Spider-Man movie. He commented, quote, I definitely think there's a market for me to be in movies, because that's what I've done in WWE. I'm reconcilable. Even if I'm out wearing a hat, recognizable. Even if I'm out wearing a hat, people always know I'm Sheamus from WWE. I don't look distinctive with my red hair, and I stand out a lot, and I definitely would like to bring that to the movies. I like actors like Michael Fassbender. I think he's brilliant. I think Hugh Jackman is great too. Look at the way he took the role of Wolverine and made it his. Robert Downey Jr., I'm a huge fan of as well. It would be an honor to work with any of these guys. Another WWE show moving to another night, going head-to-head with a wrestling show. Variety reports that WWE NXT will be moving to Wednesday nights on the WWE Network soon. F4W Online reports that while the change isn't confirmed yet, it's expected to take place the same week that SmackDown moves to Thursday nights, the week of January 15th, 2015. That would put NXT head-to-head with AAA Underground from 8 p.m. until 9. The update was made on November 6th at 6:20 p.m. Eastern Time. There was also an update, fixed an earlier version of the article, that SmackDown would be airing head-to-head with Lucha Libre. WWE Hall of Famer interested in return as a general manager. Mick Foley wrote on his Facebook page today, quote, Foley for GM. When asked a few months ago on social media how I would feel about another run as WWE General Manager, I said, quote, I don't think I would be asked and would turn down the offer if I was. Well, after my appearance on WWE Monday Night Raw a few weeks ago, I've kind of changed my tune. That appearance energized me and made me feel like I just might have something to offer WWE on a more regular basis. I think there is a chance I'll be asked about becoming GM within the next year, and if asked, I think I'll do it. So today's hot topic, we'll call it, what do you think of, again, I hate to keep bringing it up, WWE product now compared to the re-energized TNA product after their near scare with Spike, and what Kristen, don't ask Daddy to wipe you. Go to Daddy. You poop?
Huh?
Did you poop?
No. I couldn't.
You poop?
No.
Okay, pull your pants up. But getting back on topic, what we were talking about is after TNA went off the air for a little bit and did their Brooklyn shows and all that, they said that those shows were some of their best, even though they weren't televised, and the fans backed that up. Given the force-fed product that we're given by WWE, the regurgitated same old from WWE, and how it doesn't care, even with polls on its website, what you guys think. Please send your submissions again to joshuazimmerman@gmail.com. Please specify whatever it is you're writing, whether it be a resume or whatever in the subject header, so we can go through them accordingly. Follow us on Twitter at CWE Company, both on Facebook.com/CWE Company and Facebook.com/WrestleTalkShow. YouTube.com/CWE Company, and the link, the channels we have out there on YouTube. Just use keywords CWE Company, WTS, Wrestle Talk Show, Joshua Zimmerman, doesn't matter, we're all over. Look us up. Thanks for the support, guys. Thanks for a great show. We hope we wrapped it up. Not much news to report today, but as it comes out, it'll be probably a day or two, and we'll have the last 2 days, the 8th to the 12th to report. And thanks again. This is Joshua Zimmerman saying have a great weekend, guys. Thanks.